Overcompensate is finally out, and with it, it ushers in the start of the new era, and also the loss of my sleep and money. The music video and lyrics themselves are jam-packed with references and lore, which can be easy to miss or get confused by considering how much seemingly happens at random. Not only that, but I firmly believe that this music video possibly foreshadows the end of the story. Before we move on to all of the theorizing and analysis, as per tradition with every new song released, I'm going to give my initial thoughts on Overcompensate. I am giving this a solid 8 out of 10. Probably the best single that introduces the new era we've ever had. Yeah, I'm saying it's better than Jumpsuit, and no, I will not elaborate. I would argue that this music video is the most cryptic to date. There is symbolism and Easter eggs in nearly every frame, as well as a clear story that can be a little confusing if you haven't done your reading first. The first prerequisite to understanding this music video is understanding vialism. Considering this era is going into explicit depth about, well, everything, a solid understanding of what vialism is, how that makes the bishops the enemy, and how Tyler utilizes the truth of vialism to his benefit is needed to understand the story told within the music video. As such, I highly recommend watching the I Am Clancy video if you want a surface level understanding. If you want a deeper and clearer analysis that goes more in depth about vialism and its practices, I recommend watching my video explaining vialism. I'll put both in the description below. The second prerequisite to understanding the music video is to read the most recent Clancy letters. On its own, the story being told in the music video can leave quite a few questions about where exactly this takes place in the story, what happens at the end, why is Tyler doing this, and much more. The Clancy letters serve the purpose of being that little hint, that little explainer as to what happens in the music videos. We can ignore the Clancy letter titled Maniac Clay for now, as it doesn't really detail much, but Clancy's resolve to rebel against the Niners. The letter we want to focus on is Claim 00FFF. In this letter, Tyler mentions that he has found a way in. We can assume that since Dema is the only place in Trench where it is established that it is increasingly difficult to get in and out, he's talking about Dema. He has found a way to get past the walls and into the city. He then talks about recruiting everyone with eyes that see beyond the horizon, so we know that he plans on converting some Dema citizens to become Banditos, particularly those who haven't fallen for the dogmatic religion of vialism and still have some curiosity or hope for escaping. The way in which he will recruit them is by teaching them. They can learn everything I've learned and fly by all the constructs that Dema has placed in front of them. The letter outlines exactly what Tyler does in the music video. First of all, the setting of the music video is in an auditorium, which is typically where educational lectures take place. This in itself isn't shocking, as the first Clancy letter establishes that the bishops teach the citizens how to do their tasks. Tyler has, like stated in his letter, brought all of these people to an auditorium in Dema to teach them what he knows. One could argue that, after the bishops essentially endorsed the pilots in the Psy era, he has become a more reliable public figure that has influence, hence why people appeared in the auditorium in the first place. We then find out what Tyler is teaching later on in the music video, where he stands by a projector. Images flash on screen. There are symbols from the I Am Banditos Spotify game released during the Trench era, which divined many of the Banditos symbols. There is also a map of Dema, a map of Trench, and the psychokinesis diagram for the ritual to seize a vessel. So Tyler is not only teaching them the way of the Banditos, but also about the ritual, the reason why they rebel. What's interesting to note that only one Clancy letter is shown throughout the entire sequence, and this letter goes into detail about Clancy's realization that the bishops have lied by extinguishing their hope. Tyler is not only teaching the citizens about the truth, but he's also actively trying to convince them as to why the bishops are bad. Nothing else much of note happens apart from one of the 9 red neon lights at the back of the room flickers. Neon lights and the number 9 are synonymous with the bishops, so the fact that one of their 9 lights is flickering likely represents that one of their own is dead, and from the outside music video we know this to be Keon's. Personally, I believe that this represents the citizens discovering the death of a bishop, and considering the song lyrically is about confidence, this information gives them the confidence and courage to join the rebellion. After all, the bishops have previously seemed indestructible due to their nigh immortal lifespan. Considering they still use the number 9 to associate with them, as seen with the neon lights in the video, shows they haven't released news of Kyon's death to the public. Doing so would undermine their power, control, and immortality, giving credence to the rebellion and sparking hope in bringing the Niners down. We also see that some of the citizens wear red tape whilst others wear yellow. This is to define the motives of each citizen. As established in my colour yellow meaning video, yellow represents the soul, positivity, and opposition to the bishops. These are people who firmly oppose the bishops and wish to move past the insecurities that have plagued their life. Meanwhile, in my video dissecting the colour red, I established that the use of red in the rebellion has the purpose of reclaiming the colour and its meanings, no longer hiding, actively wanting to destroy the bishops, not just oppose. The tape divides citizens who will actively rebel and take down the bishops within the city versus those who just want to escape. Tyler's last lesson that he teaches the people is why the bishops use the ritual, what the dark secret to vialism is that causes so many banditos to rebel, that the purpose of vialism is to create available vessels for the bishops to seize. We see Tyler fall to the ground in a way reminiscent of car radio's death drop, and the mask is pulled, revealing a person who has become a glorious Gon. This glorious Gon was Tyler's way in, as described in the Clancy letter. There have been many debates about whether this person is Clancy due to the fact they have red hair and the name Clancy translates to son of the red-haired warrior. Mark has confirmed that this person is not the original Clancy. I won't go too much into their identity because then it reaches speculation rather than theory. And also because I had a video planned explaining all of this before everything happened with the new era, so thank you, Tyler and Josh. But it's important to know that Tyler is still Clancy, and this person is not the original Clancy. He hasn't taken from this person's legacy. As for how the music video ends, there has been quite a bit of speculation as to where Tyler and Josh are, and why there seems to be a glow of fire. At the start of the music video, we see a shot of an ocean stretch, which is reminiscent to the ending of the Outside music video, where Tyler and Josh stand at the cliffs of Voldsoy to see the Banditos across Paladin Strait. So we can assume that during the events of the video, Tyler and Josh rode across Paladin Strait to get back to Trench and reunite with the Banditos. This seems to be confirmed by the fact that Tyler smiles as soon as he sees a glow. From the Maniac Clay letter, there is a secret code of follow the torches, as well as lots of talk about how comforting campfires are, all of which are things associated with the Banditos. He's returned to his friends and allies, seeing their signature flame. That is why he is smiling. As with most 21 Pilots songs, Overcompensate is not exempt from having multiple meanings and interpretations. However, I would argue that this song is one of the very few that strictly has two opposing meanings, likely to reference the battle at hand in this era. Tyler mentioned in a BBC interview once the video dropped that the song is inspired by the feeling of ignoring the warning signs and rushing past them with the confidence one has gained, allowing that confidence to guide them rather than have doubts restrict them.
There's a lyric in the chorus that talks about a dangerous bend symbol, and it's a certain sign. It's like a zigzag sign that basically says, hey, up ahead, slow down, there's a sharp turn. And I just remember thinking, it's kind of cheesy, I guess, but a bit of an analogy in certain seasons of my life where I would just completely ignore those sorts of signs and just, go full speed ahead and kind of learn the hard way in some ways. So a bit of that overcompensating is, overcorrecting your steering when trying to get back on course.
The lyrics reflect this confidence and swagger Tyler or Clancy finally has to stand up to the bishops. Linguistically, this song lacks a lot of substance in comparison to many other 21 Pilots songs such as Message Man, Redecorate or Pet Cheetah. It is a very straightforward and blunt song decorated with linguistic methods instead. This seems to be intentional as Tyler utilises most of the lyrics to divulge the truth about Dema and vialism. He isn't beating around the bush and is incredibly confident, hence why what he is saying is so clear and concise rather than hidden in fear of discovery. It is also littered with references to past songs. Welcome Back to Trench is a reference to Levitate. The break before the first verse is a sample from Bandito. Overtake Yourself is a reference to Morph, whereas the mention of years being way too short for my soul is a callback to the final verse of Leave the City. You could even argue that the music video shows signs of referencing previous 21 Pilots works, with the car radio-esque death drop at the end of the music video. These references serve a very clear purpose in highlighting Tyler's confidence. These moments and things are all familiar to him, and he finds strength in that. With the familiar, he can gauge what is happening, and not only have a sense of control, but also a sense of stability. It gives justification for his confidence. To look more deeply into the lyrics rather than structure, we have a range of lyrics we can draw from that prove Tyler's confidence. As mentioned, the sampling from Bandito shows that Tyler is in control. Bandito is a song about, well, the Banditos, and it shows that he is free from the bishop's control by utilising lyrics that identify him as a bandito. He is certain in his identity and who he wishes to side with. It also highlights that he is reunited with his allies, therefore having confidence due to strength in numbers. In the first verse, it starts with "Earned my stripes, 300 tracks in my Adidas track jacket." Firstly, the phrase "earned my stripes" means when someone has gained experience in a profession that should earn respect, which shows Tyler has knowledge in the form of experience that acts as power. "Earned my stripes" is also an allusion to tigers, as tigers are striped animals. Spiritually, tigers represent strength, further bolstering the idea of Tyler being convicted, having power and having confidence. 300 tracks in my Adidas track jacket also depicts this, as the 300 tracks refers to 21 Pilots' discography, and the Adidas track jacket is a reference to the jacket Tyler used to commonly wear. Again, it reinforces ideas of expertise and familiarity, conveying his confidence. He's earned your respect because he has the relevant experience in his field to justify his confidence. We then have "Don't sleep on a boy who can't fall asleep twice," which adds to the idea of gaining power through knowledge, but also actively rebelling against Dema. Sleep has always been associated with the bishops and with their control. Tyler encourages us to wake up from their control at the beginning of Jumpsuit, whilst Clancy notes that the citizens of Dema are asleep to the truth and to life. Not only is Tyler saying that he is awake and aware of what the bishops are doing, but this is also him saying he can't fall asleep, and is resisting Dema's control to the point he can't fall for their tricks twice. It's also important to note that this verse is littered with instructions with bless, don't, while he's also making predictions on how other people will act, while you react to acting gobsmacked. This is again a sign of control and confidence. He knows how other people will react, and he's also able to instruct them as to what to do. "I fly by the dangerous bend symbol" is probably one of the most complex lyrics we get in this song. Fly by refers to driving by something quickly, further highlighting Tyler's confidence. The dangerous bend symbol, meanwhile, was a road symbol created by the Bourbaki group, which the bishops are inspired by. Tyler is flying by signs created by the bishops, confidently ignoring them and forging ahead. They no longer influence him. Don't hesitate to maybe overcompensate. Overcompensate means to take excessive measures in attempting to correct or make amends for an error, weakness, or problem. Tyler is telling us not to hesitate in fighting back against the bishops and make up for their problem. He's actively working to overcompensate for their errors, which is vialism. Again, he is confident and certain in himself and certain in conveying this message to us. Verse 2 contains the last traces of Tyler being confident in this song. "Done running, come up with Josh Dunn, wanted dead or alive." Not only does this show Tyler is confident as he is done hiding and is openly fighting back against the bishops, but wanted dead or alive is a bold reference to vialism. It alludes to the fact how it doesn't matter whether Tyler and Josh are caught dead or alive, as they both have their uses in vialism as a promoter or as a vessel. "You bow down to the masses" is yet another exposure of vialism. To bow down to the masses essentially means that people are made to listen to, appease, and respect the wants of the populace over their own, as bowing is often done not only as a symbol of respect, but it also denotes a hierarchy. The masses are more important than the self. This is an exposure of how vialism is unfair. The citizens are made to put the wants of others first, such as the bishops, rather than themselves. This is then contrasted by the idea of putting oneself first in "Overtake your former self." The driving imagery springs to mind notions of being in control, whilst overtaking means to move ahead and move past, bringing ideas of growth. This line encourages to have the confidence to move forward and become someone new. Now, you may just think I might call it a day there, but I mentioned that this song has two meanings. The second one is more negative. Overcompensate seems to warn that Tyler's newfound confidence is too excessive, resulting in him ignoring other perspectives and the warning signs. As aforementioned, the chorus has the most complex lyrics in the entire song, and this is where that nuance, that dual meaning is most exemplified. Flyby, as we have established, means to move quickly. However, to drive quickly can also bring danger both to others and the driver. This is the first sign we see of Tyler not thinking things through, but rather just speeding ahead. The dangerous bend symbol, whilst created by the Wolbachie group, has a positive purpose. Firstly, on road signs, it is used as a sign of safety to warn of challenges ahead and difficult road. Moreover, more exclusively, it was utilised by the Wolbachie group in their works to mark difficult theories that readers could make errors in their interpretation about if they were too hasty with it, resulting in an interpretation that does not reflect the reality of the argument. Not only does this heavily link to Message Man, a song about not assuming the interpretation and taking caution when claiming to know the meaning of a song, thank you pilots for giving me the spiritual successor I begged for, but it essentially tells us that Tyler isn't taking a step back, but actively rushing past and ignoring the warning signs that have a purpose of being there, ignoring other perspectives on this battle, which result in a narrow-minded, skewed perspective of reality that could possibly put him and the other Banditos in danger. There are plenty of other lyrics that echo this sentiment of Tyler being overly reckless. For example, the constant repetition of "wait what" in the chorus after Tyler admits to ignoring the dangerous bend symbol is actually a call and response, a method wherein the main voice calls out and a group responds to it. We can assume, given this song takes on a lecturing tone, that the response is from the people listening to Tyler. This call and response is used to convey confusion at Tyler's statement, showing that they are shocked and uncertain by Tyler's recklessness. Even the call to overcompensate can be seen as reckless and ignoring other perspectives. We've already established that overcompensate means to take excessive measures to fix a mistake. The key word here is excessive. When something is excessive, it means it's too much, severe, and can lead to being harmful. Instead of adequately and proportionately responding to the bishop's exploitation and compensating for it, Tyler is taking excessive action, allowing his confidence to take him to extremes without thinking things through and trying to find a better, less harmful way. Verse 1 utilises enjambment, a poetry method where the sentence continues without a pause despite the end of the line. This method tends to create a very rushed tone and quality to a piece of work, again emphasising how Tyler is allowing his confidence to lead him recklessly, moving quickly without thinking. This is further highlighted in verse 2, where the rhyme scheme and meter break down in line 3. The first two lines in the verse follow 11 syllables, whereas the third follows 12, whilst "if you can't see, I am Clancy" rhymes within the line and consequently changes the pace of the lyric. This quick, abrupt change suggests the idea of moving too quickly, and it resulting in a lack of control. So, what are the warning signs Tyler could possibly be missing? Firstly, throughout the lyrics, there is a semantic field of eyes. Same twitching in my eyes, fall asleep, peripheral, if you can't see. This semantic field creates an illusion of being watched. Not only that, but eyes are established to be associated with Dema, as seen with the hiatus and the many Dema logos the bishops use. Tyler isn't safe, he's being watched, and yet he's missing this. In fact, the idea of being watched could possibly allude to the fact that, as an exception, Tyler can be seized at any time whilst alive, making him a threat to the rebellion and able to be quelled at any time. Another warning sign is that he's arguably making the same mistakes the bishops have made. The lyrics "so you pick who you serve" stuck out as quite odd to me, as this seems to be encouragement that the people of Dema have a choice to choose who they want to side with. Citizens can't choose which bishop they serve, so this lyric can't be alluding to the practices within Dema, but rather reminding the citizens they have a choice. So why use the word serve for the Banditos, something that means to perform a service for another, and implies that there is a hierarchy where the citizens will be negatively impacted, or will be the powerless ones? Tyler is becoming too confident, making the same mistakes as the bishops, where he's getting the people to serve the Banditos and their ideology rather than fight alongside them. Moreover, this idea is bolstered when you consider how Tyler also takes on a pseudo-religious role. Throughout the lyrics, there is a semantic field of religion: created, bless, prodigal, bow, serve. The religious language makes the movement of the Banditos, their rebellion, seem more like a religion. Even the music video affirms this. Around Tyler's neck, he's wearing something called a stole, a piece of cloth given to, would you know it, ordained bishops. Not only does this tell us that Tyler and the Banditos haven't truly escaped nor defeated vialism, especially the influence of vialism over themselves and their practices, but it also brings concerns that Tyler and the Banditos could be becoming exactly like the bishops, and their confidence is blinding them to this possibility. You could even argue that Tyler's confidence isn't just blinding him, but it is actively toxic, used as a tool to overcompensate for his own doubts and uncertainties, something we see appear in his Dema org letters time and time again that have suddenly and very weirdly disappeared and been left unresolved. Don't hesitate to maybe overcompensate is oxymoronic, as to not hesitate is to be certain and decisive in taking action, whilst maybe is vague and uncertain, possibly implying that Tyler is uncertain too and has inner conflict. A prodigal son is a boy who has left the family to do something that they disapprove of and returns home feeling sorry for what he has done, which implies that on some level Tyler still considers Dema his family and home, and still likely feels conflicted emotionally about destroying the nation or taking the bishops down. Days feel like a perfect length, do the years feel way too short for my soul, suggests that daily Tyler is content with the pace he is going at. A year, however, is an amalgamation of many days, depicting that when Tyler takes a step back to view a year rather than the days separately, the pace he is moving at is still far too quick for him to take, again suggesting uncertainty and a lack of control. Even the backing vocals allude to this. Confusion plays intermittently to remind us of Tyler's uncertainty. The fact that they are relegated to being backing vocals shows how Tyler's confidence takes center stage to cover up that which he's confused or uncertain about. Ultimately, Overcompensate is a song that lyrically details Tyler's confidence to overcome the influence of the bishops and expose their lies thanks to his own experiences providing him with insight and strength. However, this confidence is toxic, masking Tyler's uncertainties and forcing him forward to ignore the danger ahead of him, the mistakes that he may be making, and the other ways in which he could possibly deal with this problem. Overcompensate's warning about ignoring the warning signs isn't something that should be taken lightly. In fact, it is this warning that foreshadows the end of the story, the end being that the cycle will continue. After all, the true enemy in this story isn't vialism, it's a hijacked religion, or the bishops, as it's clear they have capacity for good as seen with Keon's. The enemy is the cycle, which keeps Tyler coming back, which keeps prolonging the pain and suffering of everyone involved. In the words of Cut My Lip, it keeps Tyler coming back even though it's him he abuses. The lyrics and music video both support this idea. Firstly, the lyrics have a semantic field of cycles. It is practically mentioned at nearly every point of the song. Verse 1 talks about music tracks, and a track is a repeated cycle. Meanwhile, the word track itself is repeated twice in that line as if to further emphasize this idea of cycles. Sleep is also something that complies with the cycle, something which arguably kicked off the cycle we see in the Trench story. Days and years are set cycles of time. Meanwhile, there is also a large semantic field of driving in the lyrics. Track, I fly by the dangerous bend symbol, curb, overtake your former self. Driving has always been an important metaphor narratively to the story, as it refers to the control Tyler has over himself, whether he is in the passenger seat and being driven or in control of the vehicle himself. It is a metaphor that links to the very beginning of the story, Heavy Dirty Soul, which starts with Tyler being driven by a bishop on a set stretch of road, looping round and round again until he destroys the car and fails. However, just like in Heavy Dirty Soul, it doesn't matter whether Tyler is in control of himself or not, is in the driver's seat or not. As seen in that music video, the car loops around the same track. Tyler will always wake up back in that car even if he destroys it. The car will continue driving the same path regardless of who is in control. The cycle will always continue. That is what this reference to Heavy Dirty Soul is telling us. Even in the music video, there is the usage of one large reference that takes us back to the Blurry Face era, this repetition illustrating the presence of cycles. In Overcompensate, the use of red neon lights and corridor angled shots is heavily reminiscent of the Fairly Local music video. Tyler even copies one of the moves from the Fairly Local video. It suggests that he is repeating past behaviours. In the end, Tyler is ignoring the warning signs about the cycle, ignoring that he is repeating past behaviours from before, treading the same path, following the same track he did back then. After all, Tyler and Josh have said that the ending may not be something we will like. That's a wrap for this video. I'm not going to spend too long talking about things in my summary because this video is way more longer than what I wanted it to be initially. But as long as the pilots don't drop anything in the next 2 weeks, hopefully I should be able to get that video I mentioned about Clancy out, which I was working on before everything happened with the new era. So yeah, I hope this video was insightful, I hope it was useful, I hope it didn't bore you, and thank you for watching! Top debate!